Nothing really to add on the injury front. Obviously, he's still getting a lot of tests and evaluations and all that medical stuff going on right now. So, like I said, Simi's got he's in concussion protocol. Darius has a chest. So I'll have more information with the rest of the crew next week. Watching the tape, obviously disappointed with the loss. Didn't do enough to win the game. There is some good things on the tape that we can, build from. And there's a lot of things that we did not do well enough that, we got to correct. There's some different things popping up in these last four. I don't want to go in the past, but these last four that, good things that are showing up have to show up consistently and can't take a step back. So with saying that, it really comes down to executing at a little bit better level for 60 minutes, all three phases, coaching a little bit better, putting them in better spots for 60 minutes, and working collectively to get the outcome that we obviously desire. So we'll take a good hard look. We self-scout every week, but I do think we get a little bit of a break here this weekend, kind of a mini bye, if you want to call it that. So I want some guys to get a little mental break, coaches and players. But then the coaches will be working this weekend as far as let's try to some problems that are happening, let's solve some problems because that's our job. So that's what we'll do.
You mentioned yesterday you kind of want to see the tape before you got too much into Trey, and I'm wondering what you saw from Benson and just how you like the overall running back production.
I thought he played well. I did. I thought Trey played well. There's some dirty yards in there. He had the one explosive. I thought he was good in the pass game. He put the ball where it needed to go. Amari got in there, made some plays. How the game went, a lot of those, Mike didn't play a ton. He was up. Amari played a decent amount because we're kind of in known pass there for a little bit. Trey obviously took the full load, but, it's just how that game kind of kicked out. But I was pleased with those guys. They got some things to correct, both in the run and pass game, but nothing that we can't fix.
What are some of the things that you've done well over the last 4 games that need to be more consistent?
Some of everything, Josh, you know what I mean? Defensively, like yesterday, I would call them cup violations where the ball circles us, and I say like a general statement, the run defense wasn't good enough. Well, if you look at things that we've executed and done a really good job of for 3 weeks, you're off by a little bit here or there. You lose a couple times. There's some hidden yardage on their end a couple times. We don't tackle as well. I thought we were a little leaky at times. So that all how we hit blocks, how we align in certain calls. We weren't aligned the right way, And it's like we just got to do that better because everyone's got to do their job to have a productive play. So we've done that well over the course of 4 games. We didn't do it well enough yesterday, So it's like things like that, and you can go to all 3 phases that's kind of happening. Hence why we just lost, a tight game. You got to do those things. You got to control those things. So if you want to win, so we just got to do them a little better.
You talked about changing and adapting last night with this mini bye. How beneficial can that be and really?
Very, very, yeah. I mean, that's, offensively, like you guys asked me about, throwing it more than running it. And again, the last 2 drives there probably skewed it a little more than what it would have been if it was kind of straight up, as I would call it. But that's, I feel like that's what we had to do to try to win the game, put us in the best chance to win the game versus that team. Is it going to look like that all the time? No. Will it look like that again at some point? Probably, you know what I mean, versus different teams. But there's going to be other games that we're probably going to run it 40 times and throw it 20 times, you know what I mean? So moving forward, I think the first thing is concentrate on us, what we're doing schematically, what our players can do well, what spots are we putting them in, who can we improve, what do they need to do to improve, and then you get that figured out. And then you go on to, all right, who are we playing and how do we got to play all three phases to win the game?
You mentioned using the mini buy to address the things that are consistently not going right from a coaching perspective, reworking some things. What are the things that are not consistently going right that you need to focus on as a coaching staff?
Offensively, some of the play types, I think, just haven't been as good for us, through 4 weeks. So we got to look at that. Are we coaching those right? Do we need different people in those spots, or do we bag it? Like, that's cool. Defensively, kind of the same thing. Like our groups, how we want our groups, from people first. I always look at people first. Where are we putting our people, and then is it working or not? And you got to have a pretty trained eye. Not that I do, but you got to have a pretty trained eye. Just because something's quote unquote not working or not being successful doesn't mean that it's not fixable and you just throw it away. So there can be some tweaks, here or there that can help you. But you got to look at those things and then, try to figure out how we can, execute a little bit better, the things that aren't coming to fruition like we would want.
I know and you mentioned last night, Chad had a great game, and the one kick wasn't everything. I'm curious about the new kickoff rule. Is the margin for error for teams that are kicking off just that so much more smaller? Because obviously they get at the 40 there, but if you get a touchback, it's still at the 35, and if they get a running start, a lot of these kickoffs are coming out to the 33, 34 anyways. Like, is that margin for error just so small right now in terms of getting a team back?
Yeah, I don't know, Darren. The rules are kind of the rules. We knew that we were saying it's going to be interesting to see through 7-8 weeks, what those numbers look like, because that plays into what you're doing. He kind of just, I thought we played well on kickoff all day, kind of just mishit that one, you know what I mean? And it's the difference of 1.5 yards, or could be really good for you, So we look at all that, and there's decisions that I made last night that you look at it, and some of them worked, and some of them didn't work from a game management standpoint. I always try to look at those critically, and sometimes when things work, you're not off the hook, and some things when they don't work, you still think it's the right decision, So that's the chair that I'm in, and that's okay. But what I try to stress with our players and our coaches, let's make sure we're continue to try to do the right things to put our team in position to win.
Harris was talking about after the game about how he knows that it's really just been a few plays that have been kind of the difference, and dating back to whether it's wins or losses, that's kind of what it's been when it's come down to those last possessions. Is that more frustrating for you, or is that more encouraging and motivating, knowing that you guys are really just in it to the very end?
I don't know. That's hey, happy post belated birthday yesterday. Yesterday, right? Yeah. Probably a little bit of both, honestly. It's obviously frustrating when you lose. This is a competitive job, and everybody in there is ultra competitive. And when you lose, it don't feel good, But I do think that it's not all bad. You have to take some positives and build on that, and then the negatives, you got to figure out why they're happening and solve them, But they know, that's, I don't know if that's ever happened. You lose, 2 games in 4 days, the way we've lost them, it doesn't feel great. But there are some positives from those 2 games.
You showed grit. At one point, the broadcast said you guys had like a 3.6 probability to win, and you come back. So I know moral victories don't show up in the win column, but if you're at a point of having to make changes and adjustments to have that mentality in the fight, how important is that for the team at this point?
Yeah. I was going to give a smart-ass answer to that, Danny, but I'll just pause. It's a good question. Just like we were like 99% versus Carolina, then it went all the way down. Not great, but my point is the win percentage thing, whatever. It's the National Football League. But I think we have a resilient team. I do think that. They'll bounce back. The one question somebody asked me yesterday, or maybe it was on the radio, I thought it was a good question, but I kind of smirked at it. Does this deflate your team losing twice how we've just lost, and to me, like, my mind went to, no, it honestly will give us a shot of adrenaline, and that's I'm speaking from my own personal belief and feeling. Like, when you lose like that, you're close, and it makes you, you're not that our sense of urgency isn't there, but it makes you really focus in on the things that we have to do better to not have the result that we're getting. So our guys will bounce back. They'll be ready to go on Monday.
After watching the tape, what were the issues on offense the first 3 quarters yesterday? Why didn't it produce like you?
I mean, it's like all 3 phases, Josh. Like, there's, it's play off, somebody a little bit off here or there. You need all 11 to do their job at a high level and make a play work. And I would give some there, and this is not a cop out. I would give some credit to Seattle. They do a good job on defense. Coach McDonald they got a good scheme. They got good players. He's a good play caller. So they press some issues on us, which they're going to continue to do whoever they play. We got to make a couple more plays and be the aggressor at times, and make sure we're playing with proper technique. That hurt us a couple times. Like, I look at, the 6 sacks, right? And in my mind, when you look at it critically, 3 of them they earned, 3 of them we gave them. So you got to eliminate those 3. You know what I mean? And then you don't feel as bad of 3 sacks. 3 of those sacks killed drives. So if you just if you make them earn them, or they don't have those, it looks a little bit different. You put up more points, you stay on the field, you convert a 3rd down. All those things. You're in the red zone, whatever. So that goes into it. Just goes into the game of the NFL. During a game, 60 minutes, they're going to make some plays. You're going to make some plays, but you can't give them plays either.
What separates a sack that you gave away from a sack they earned?
The one, like, on the 2nd down, like, we're just not coordinated correctly with what we're doing, and I know we know what to do, but we just didn't execute it at a high enough level and give them a sack, Where another one, it's late in the down and they played a good coverage and quarterback's progressing through and we kind of cave a little bit later, they kind of earned that one to me. You know what I mean? That was rushing coverage sack. That happens, especially when you're throwing it as much and it's known pass for them. So they kind of got the upper hand. They got us on that one. So I don't know if that gives a good example for you, but like the 2nd down one to 7 and Wosu Chenna, like we've done that at a high level, that protection, and we just didn't get it done that time, and we got a guy coming wide open, so it's those plays we need to make sure that we're on point.
What happened on the first interception where it looked like Marv stopped running his route?
Yeah, honestly, like, that's a little miscommunication. He's progressing to the big end, and I think when he pulled it down and strided up, you could talk to Marv. I haven't talked to Marv or Kyler yet, but I honestly think Marv started to snap off his route because he thought it was going to be a scramble drill and the ball was out of his hand, So it was just a touch of timing with that one. So it stinks that it happened, but it happened.
I know those things happen, but it does seem like there are a lot of miscommunications. Truthfully, I felt that walking off the field, like, man, like, are we on the same page as much? Because that irks me, truthfully, like it does. Like, it's like when we're throwing the ball to nobody, that's like a busted coverage to me, like it shouldn't happen. And I thought we had more than what we actually did. We definitely had one. And on the tape, and we talked about it, how we can handle that as a coaching staff to maybe not put them in that situation when we're in a different tempo. But the defense wasn't aligned right, and they got aligned, late, and we had already made the adjustment, so to speak, without giving away everything. That happens. But a couple other ones that happened, I thought we weren't on the right page, but we were, so I honestly feel better about that. But we can't have miscommunication of where the ball should be delivered at the proper time and what route is being run. But
with Marv and Kyler, I don't think it was bad. You know what I mean? Coming out after watching the tape, I'm not mad about where they were being on the same page.
There was one of those last week too, right? It was kind of the opposite. Marv ran short and Kyler threw deep. I know I was asking you to go back, but.
Correct. They were not on the same page. Correct.
So you guys like coming off the field, you thought-
Correct. Yeah, I thought there was 3 plays. Truthfully, I thought there was 3 plays in the game that Kyler's throwing the ball, not just to Marv, but other people, that they're running a different route. It was really only 1.
We heard all offseason how everyone's on the same page, right? All the work that these receivers and Kyler put in together. Why are these still happening, though?
Yeah, defense has a say. That's why, you know? So with saying that's not being like a smart ass, it's the truth, you know? So there's nothing like learning from game reps. So I think these reps will help us moving forward to play better.
Go ahead, Josh.
You said after the game yesterday that 4 games is a good sample size to kind of see what you guys are and what you have. After the last 2 games this week, where are you on this offense? What's your confidence level right now?
High. It is. And I know that, you know, to the outside world, not that I'm worried about the outside world, but you'd be like, well, why is it high? You're not scoring a lot of points. Looks, you know, at times doesn't look great, this and that. I know that we have the people that we need to produce, how we need to produce to win games. I've seen through 4 weeks what it can look like. At times, we're just not consistently there right now. So that's what I mean about the 4 games. It's like, okay, we can we should be able to have a better sense of figuring out, and you need to have a sense every week, but let's really look at where we're putting our guys, what we're asking them to do, and how do we improve our efficiency and production. So we need to take a step forward.
I know you mentioned the difference between game reps and practice reps. I know all the time you guys practice the green dot, everybody getting a shot at that, but with Mac getting evaluated, I know Akeem jumped in for that spot. It was a small sample size, but can you take anything away from that? him being able to jump right in?
Yeah, I thought he did a good job. I do. I mean, he's a pro. He's a vet. You know what I mean? He's playing good football for us right now. He didn't miss a beat, and you know he's playing 4th down too, which is a big hat because he's one of our premier players on specials teams. So I thought 27 did an excellent job last night, and specifically with that, he was good.
How's Jalen in the slot?
Say it again.
How's Jalen?
Oh, Jalen. I thought he played well. I know he had I think they called him on a 1 penalty. He's got to make sure he keeps his upfield hand out, but he's doing a good job.
Now that we're past Seattle, how is Walter Nolan doing?
Okay, so those guys, because we have our chances to open up windows here, so you guys will see that next week. No, I one day at a time. Easy, Mark. One day at a time. One day at a time. One day at a time. Here's what I would say. All those guys that are not healthy enough to be out there right now are all progressing. They're all at different stages. And when we can get guys back up and get them rolling, we'll get them back and rolling. But they got to be fully healthy, ready to assimilate into a practice before we open the window and put them out there, or you're wasting time with it. So that's truly how it works. And I'm really not trying to be coy. Like, it truly is like day by day with that stuff, you know? So I don't want to be dismissive about those questions, but like a lot of times when we open up a window, I know about a day before, you know? So I'm hopeful that some of those guys start to get back soon.